One of the wonderful things about World of Darkness is how it blends both rich, deep lore, unique to the setting, with the standard interpretations of classic horror staples. If you're new to the franchise and ask, what is a vampire? A perfectly acceptable answer is an undead guy that drinks blood. You don't need to perfectly understand the millennia of history behind Clan Tremere to run a game of Masquerade. And this extends to werewolves. What's a werewolf? A person that's a bit wolfy. Maybe more than a bit, maybe a lot wolfy, but wolf person surmises it very well. The modern understanding of a werewolf is a curiously uniform yet fluid thing. Man plus beast is a given, but the specifics change depending on what a writer needs. Do they have control over themselves in their beastly form? Do they forcibly change during a full moon? Can they change at will? How are they made? Does the curse transfer by a bite, or do you have to be born with it? Is it even a curse at all? World of Darkness loves its werewolves, and has laid down plenty about them. So let's get in on our favorite murder furries. A Garou is a person with the ability to shift between 5 different forms related between humanity and wolves. In order, these forms are Hamid, their human form, visually and physically indistinguishable from a normal person; Glabro, a bit more wolfy, sporting claws, fangs, and other minor attributes of wolves. Roughly your Jack Nicholson type werewolf. Krynos, the war form, the largest and most powerful form at a Garou's disposal. This is your Skyrim werewolf, the real monster of the lineup. Hispo. This one's a weird one. It's a form comparable to the dire wolves that lived thousands of years ago. These are visually different from mundane wolves, being larger and stronger, but otherwise don't sport anything special. And finally, the Lupus. This form is indistinguishable from a normal wolf, although much faster and still bearing the Garou's human intelligence. Most useful in the same role as their human form, just as the opposite end of things, performing reconnaissance while masquerading as common fauna instead of common people. Each form has various strengths and weaknesses to serve as the Garou needs. In addition, the Garou have several more intangible abilities, like triggering the delirium in people and calling upon unique magics from Gaia. Speaking of, let's touch on Gaia and the origins and history of the Garou. In World of Darkness, reality is weird. It's like an onion, it has layers. Our world, Earth, is but one layer, with countless others all around us. And in these layers are extra-dimensional entities, typically referred to as spirits. And some spirits are old and powerful. What exactly Gaia is can't be said. Whether she's literally the Earth itself made conscious, a spirit tied to the Earth, or some other split hair can't be said definitively. Here's what we do know. 1. She cares a great deal about preserving the natural life on Earth as we understand it. 2. For this end, she created the Garou, and some other werebeasts that we'll talk about later, to defend the Earth as her soldiers in a war against other spirits, particularly the Worm, a rotten bastard of an eldritch nightmare, with enough baggage to warrant his own video. But for our purposes, suffice to say the Worm is a dick. Gaia wants to stop it, and to that end, she made furries. Let's rewind to that part where I said they can do magic. Garou have access to abilities called gifts, which are granted to them by spirits from other dimensions, typically the Umbra. Gifts can vary wildly, from invisibility to manipulating others' minds to copying the powers of others. While these powers aren't comparable in scale to, say, mages teleporting nukes across the globe, they do a great deal to bolster a Garou when paired with their inherent strength and endurance. And finally, the delirium. I've already covered what it is, but the why is still unknown. Why does humanity have an instinctive fear trigger that goes above our normal survival instincts with relation to the Garou? Well, a long time ago, everything sucked. In prehistoric times, humanity served as prey for Garou for several thousand years straight, a period called the Impergium that almost drove us to extinction. Well, what ended it? The Garou weren't just bad neighbors to us. Gaia created many breeds of werebeasts, and the Garou were dicks to all of them. In an event called the War of Rage, they picked a fight with everybody they could, and lost. Pretty badly. With their numbers dwindling and humanity's numbers skyrocketing, the Garou gave up on making us past tense, so to speak. So, in summation, the Garou are werewolves with 5 different forms they can morph into, created by Gaia to defend the Earth from extra-dimensional threats. They can gain extra powers from spirits related to the Earth, and they have a long, bloody history with damn near everything in WOD setting. Werewolves are neat. As literary devices, they serve a wide number of uses. Some people say World of Darkness has an absurd amount of lore, just for you to play the game as a hobo with extra teeth. And objectively, I can understand that. But with all the work and love that's been poured into this setting, I can't help but respect it. I love how much we have to work with here. And I love World of Darkness's werewolves.